You've definitely seen the photo, right? A young guy in handcuffs, but he's got this huge, confident grin on his face. The internet absolutely ran with it, turning him into this modern-day legend, a hacker who stole from the big bad banks to give to the poor. But what if that whole story is just a story? Today, we're cracking open the case file on the smiling hacker, and we're going to follow the money to see where it really leads.
So who was Hamza Bendelladj really? Was he a folk hero for the digital age? A sort of champion for the little guy, taking on the whole global banking system? Or was he the brilliant architect behind one of the most damaging financial viruses the world had ever seen? Let me tell you, the story you've heard online is not the whole picture, not even close. Okay, let's just put it all out there, side by side. The legend says he was this ghost in the machine, hacking 217 banks directly, that he gave away millions to charity, and that in the end, he was executed for his crimes smiling all the way. But the official records, I'm talking court documents, evidence, the stuff that holds up, they tell a totally different tale. He hacked people, not banks. He lived a life of luxury, and he was sentenced to prison. The huge gap between these two versions, that's where our investigation began. All right, to get to the truth, the first thing we've got to do is look past that smiling photo and even the name Hamza Bendelladj, because in the world where these financial crimes were actually happening, he wasn't known by that name at all. Meet BX1. Now, this wasn't just some random screen name. You have to think of it more like a brand. Under this alias, Bendelladj wasn't some lone wolf hacker hiding in a basement. No, he was a pretty sharp entrepreneur operating in the dark corners of the internet, in a hidden marketplace built for cybercrime. He was a big player on forums like darkcode.com. And listen, these weren't your typical chaotic chat rooms. Think of them more like a sophisticated, invite-only, Amazon for criminals. They had sellers, buyers, product reviews, even customer support. It was a structured underground economy for illegal goods.
And if you want to know what BX1's role was, you don't have to take my word for it. Just read his own advertisements. This is a direct quote from one of his posts. Zeus/SpyEye/Ice9 ATSs for sale. I'm selling private ATSs, working and tested. See, he wasn't just using the tools, he was a vendor, a marketer, selling his powerful financial weapons to other criminals all over the world. So what exactly was he selling that was so valuable? Well, that brings us to the weapon at the very heart of this story. A piece of malware that was responsible for nearly $1 billion in financial damage across the globe. Now this is an absolutely crucial point to understand. The legend says he hacked banks. The reality is actually way more sneaky. He and his partner didn't try to knock down the fortified digital walls of the big financial institutions. Why would they? They went after the weakest link in the chain. Ordinary people. You. Their virus was designed to target personal computers. The tool was called SpyEye. It was what's known as a Trojan virus, and he developed it with his Russian partner, Alexander Panin. Its one and only purpose was to sneak onto your computer, lie in wait, and completely automate the process of siphoning off your most sensitive financial data, your logins, your passwords, your credit card numbers. So here's how the whole heist worked, broken down into 4 steps. First, the infection. You'd get a spam email or visit a compromised website, and boom, your computer was compromised. Second, control. Your PC would then become a part of a botnet, basically a zombie army of computers that BX1 could control remotely. Third, data theft. SpyEye used something called web injects to trick you into giving up your secret info. And finally, the automated transfer. A special module would kick in and silently drain the money from your accounts, all without you having a clue. And that final module, the automated transfer system, or ATS, that was the real stroke of genius. This is the product BX1 was advertising. It didn't just steal the money, it was designed to cover its own tracks. Get this, it would show you a fake but perfectly normal-looking bank balance on your screen. So your account could be totally empty, but when you logged in, you'd see your money right where you thought it was. It was the perfect, invisible crime. Okay, so an operation this huge, causing $1 billion in losses worldwide, well, that doesn't go unnoticed for long. The financial forensics soon kicked off one of the biggest international cybercrime manhunts in history. The FBI hunted BX1 for 3 years. The chase finally ended, not in some dark server room, but in a very public place, an airport. In January of 2013, Hamza Bendelladj was picked up during a layover in Bangkok. From there, he was extradited to the United States to face charges in Atlanta, which was the home base for one of his main control servers.
And it was right there, at the airport in Bangkok, that the infamous photo was taken. The image that literally launched the entire myth. It was snapped just moments after a 3-year-long international chase had finally come to an end.
When the authorities finally got their hands on his laptops, they described what they found as a treasure trove. Not of gold or jewels, but of data. The credit card information of 200,000 people. The actual source code for the malware itself. Chat logs with other big-name cybercriminals that proved the conspiracy. They even found the code for his website that automated selling stolen data. The entire case was right there, sitting on his hard drive.
So, with Bendelladj in custody and the evidence basically gift-wrapped for the prosecution, the larger-than-life legend of the smiling hacker was about to have a head-on collision with the cold, hard facts of a federal courtroom. Let's start with the most powerful part of the myth, that he was a Robin Hood figure, stealing from the rich and powerful and giving the money to charities in Palestine and Africa. Investigators followed the money trail, expecting to find something. But the official court records, the financial forensics, they showed absolutely no evidence that any donations were ever made.
0. That's the amount, the verified, documented amount of charitable giving that was found by investigators and presented in court. The Robin Hood story, as compelling as it is, just wasn't backed up by any of the financial evidence.
So if the money wasn't going to charity, where did it go? Well, this quote from the Thai immigration chief who arrested him tells you everything you need to know. The money trail didn't lead to nonprofits. It led to first-class flights in a life of luxury. The money was for personal enrichment, not philanthropy.
Then you have the second major myth, that he paid the ultimate price for his crimes. The story that he was executed, smiling bravely to the very end. This rumor went so viral, so out of control, that the actual US ambassador to Algeria had to issue a public statement to clarify that, no, computer crimes are not capital offenses in the United States. The reality, while maybe a little less dramatic, was just as final. On April 20th, 2016, Hamza Bendelladj was sentenced to 15 years in a federal prison. He served his time, and as a quick update, he was released on July 6, 2024, and has since returned to his home country of Algeria. So if he wasn't a Robin Hood, and he wasn't a martyr, what's his real legacy? The financial forensics of this case point to an impact that's actually way more significant and frankly, way more damaging than simple theft.
And this brings us to the most important point of all. Hamza Bendelladj's true legacy is the industrialization of financial crime. He was a pioneer of what we now call malware as a service. See, he wasn't just a hacker, he was a weapons dealer. He built and sold the tools that allowed countless other criminals to steal money with ease, effectively creating a global criminal enterprise right from his keyboard.
This whole case really leaves us with one critical question, doesn't it? The story of the smiling charitable hacker is simple, it's powerful, and it's almost completely false. The true story is complex, it's technical, and it's way more disturbing. So it forces us to ask ourselves, in an age where viral narratives can be built and spread in an instant, how do we make sure we're following the evidence and not just falling for a really good story?